So I thought I'd do a really quick video comparing the case trapper with the colt trapper. Just comparing the fit and finish and the quality, since one's made in China and one's made in America. So that's the colt. Both blades came razor sharp. I've used this one a few times and I've never had to sharpen it. So that's a spare of the skinning blade, and that one I would call the utility blade. This one came straight off a belt sander and had a lot of burrs on it when I got it, but a few strokes of a diamond rod, and so it's easy to sharpen. Again, razor sharp. As far as quality goes, I'll include photos because the video quality is shit at the end of the video, so I'll just stick some photos on the end. But the emblem's really nicely done. It's got a horse, obviously it's colt, and it's got the nice emblem or engravings or whatever you call them around the emblem. It's really nicely done, it's easy to look at, or it's easy to see everything. It's high quality stamped. Doesn't look like it's made in China. It's got colt stamped on the blade there as well, which again you can't see. No, you can't see. Just have to take my word for it, and like I say, I'll put photos in at the end of the video. So that's the case. It hasn't got very well stamped emblem. You can barely see that it reads case, and I think it's got 2 or 3 X's stamped at the bottom. And the case is stamped nicely in the blade there. These blades are also razor sharp. Straight out the box. So as far as the things go, blades made out of 420J2 on the colt, which is nothing wrong with that steel. I've never had a problem with that. It costs £17 and it's got a stag handle, genuine stag, and that's also really nicely done. There's no gaps in between the scales and the metal. Again, you can't see, but I'll include photos at the end of the video so you can see it clearer. Yeah, it's really nicely done. Scales are pretty much the exact same on both sides. I hate it when you get knives like this and this side's really fat and this side's really thin, but nope, that's perfect for me. Case is pretty much the same. There's a little gap there you can hear. So yeah. As far as fit and finish goes, I know a lot of people are going to give a shit for saying this, but I think the colt's better put together. But there's no gaps in between there. There's nothing sticking up, but there is a slight gap on the colt right there, which you can't see. But again, I'll add photos at the end of the video. And there's a very slight gap there between the back spring and this brass liner. As far as blade centering goes, the colt's perfectly centered. The spare blade on the case is perfectly centered. But the main utility blade, or whatever you want to call it, it's very slightly off to the right. That's no big whoop. Nothing I would complain about anyway, but I know a lot of people might. So the colt, like I said, was £17. The case was £50, and I think the only reason why I'm paying £50 for this is because it's got made in USA stamped on it. But yeah, I like the case, so it just feels a little bit better in the hand. It's smoother. and obviously it's got more of a traditional feel to it, whereas the Colt, it's a little bit rougher on the handle skills, but that's better I think for gripping. Oh yeah, so overall fit and finish, I would say the Colt's better, just because there's no gaps in there, and there's nothing really sticking up, so you can't hear anything there. There's nothing sticking up on there, but there's gaps there, like I say, and the blade's slightly off on the case. But yeah, so I think the Colt's a little bit better in terms of quality. But quality of materials, I would have to give it to the case, because the case is made out of better materials. But as far as fit and finish goes, I think the Colt's a little bit better, just because there's no gaps whatsoever. You can sort of see right there. Camera's decided I wanted to focus a little bit. Just a very slight gap there and there. But anyway, I would happily pay 50 quid for another one of these, but I'd rather pay 17 quid for one of these. You're basically getting the exact same thing as the case, just out of slightly different materials, same fit and finish. So yeah, I like them both. Like I say, they're both the exact same as far as quality goes. Nothing wrong with a Colt just because it's made in China. I wouldn't complain about that. It's a really great knife. Easy to sharpen. Get it razor sharp. I've never had to sharpen this once yet, apart from this blade here. But it's very easy to cure the burrs that were on the blade. I just stropped it and then went over it with a diamond file and then stropped it again, and it's back to razor sharp. Took 5 minutes, if that. So yeah, that's my little review on the case versus the Colt. They're both pretty much identical. I like them both, and I'd happily buy both again. The only faults with the cases, the case shield isn't really stamped in that well. It's slightly hard to read, and there's just a little bit of gaps there, and the main blade is slightly off. But yeah, there's more wrong with the case than there is the Chinese one, which I find funny. But like I say, I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for saying that, but whatever. I call things the way I see them. Just because this is made in America doesn't mean I'm going to praise it. If there's some flaws with it, I'll say it. Anyway, that's my little video on the case versus the Colt. Like I say, both great knives. Like them a lot.